The king, baby.
Hello everybody, it's me, it's Michael B. Happy Monday night. Tonight on the show, we've got Bill McLaughlin. You may know him better as Old Man Rukus from Bash Game Studios, and he's here to tell us all about the BashBox. And we're going to tell you more about it right after this. Welcome to Chillin' Chat with Michael B. See, Bill, I'm trying to work on my intros. Everybody tells me I'm too long-winded, so I tried to be more succinct that time. I don't know if I accomplished it or not, but thank you so much, Bill, for being here. Old Man Rukus, you've been a person that's been a fixture in the home arcade community for years. So excited that you're here tonight to tell us all about Bash Game Studios, a little bit about your history, and what exactly is the BashBox, and what can people look forward to. So where do you want to get started, Bill? I know people want to talk about BashBox, but why don't you tell me a little bit about you and your history in the home arcade space?
So I started off with making a hilo stick with a hilo actually. I worked with one of our guys, Honky Kong Ryan, and we started. This is how we started off. When we got to working with Jay Mason, he actually started mentoring me, saying, "Hey, you can do things a lot better if you take this route. I like what you guys are doing. I want to bring you in." And that's how I got started professionally. I still was able to do mods, just not as intense as I was with the hilo stick. Yeah. But, I figured since I was in here for being me, I'm going to still be me and be able to still bring everything for the community, because my whole objective with this was always bring in more and more to the community.
Yeah, I think every single person that's ever owned a Neo Geo MBSX has to say thank you to the hilo team, because that thing was awesome. So many people. Still, that's their preferred way of playing home arcade, so good job, man.
Solid. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
So that's how you got started. You were working with Unico, and then shortly after that, you branched out on your own. But before you did that, you did get some advice from a person in the home arcade community that a lot of people, kind of have some mixed feelings on. He's one of those people. He's involved. He's done some amazing things, but people fixate on it. That's our buddy John D. Do you want to tell us about your relationship with John, and also kind of the advice he gave you that may have helped you on the path that you're on right now?
John D evolved from, I want to say, from my biggest enemy to currently my big brother. He's a man who's been super working with me and working on a lot of different projects with me. And then once he left iCade1Up, he was giving me some mentorship. He's got me some contacts in the industry in order to make some other things happen. And, without him, I wouldn't even be able to start the BashBox. So once I worked on projects for him, getting him some things up, and I worked on a couple things for iCade1Up, and I was working on a few more things with them right before he left. So, I worked on a few things, and, it's always been great.
Yeah. John, a lot of times, is the big bad wolf. People like to blame him for certain things that go on, but I don't think people understand how much he's actually done for the community as well, and stuff he does behind the scenes for people like you, other people. He's always reaching out, trying to help people. So Yeah, it's nice to hear that. Usually the stories about John are bad, so it's good to get a positive one every now and then. So,
I can't speak to everybody's experience. I've
yeah,
worked with a lot, but he's worked a lot with me, working on different things, and I'm appreciative to it. So I appreciate
yeah,
those who helped me get to where I am.
yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to jump ahead too quickly because we do want to talk about Arcade1Up because you did some work with them. So after Unico, what was your next step? Did you immediately start Bash Game Studios? Did you start working with any other companies? Like, say, for example, a lot of people that are here might know you from the iArcade space and some of your titles there.
So I worked Arcade went up just on Simpsons Bowling, and then I was working on a couple of other things, and then we were going to work more online component of Marvel Sketch or
Yeah.
John D left. After John D left, kind of a lot of those projects I worked on just went with him because I reached out to him for other things, in case they needed me, and they have my number if they need me. But I've been pretty much flying solo with doing the things that I'm doing, working with a lot of different people, working with a lot of different teams, and fortunately, I'm with the team I'm with now, and we've been able to be focused on the BashBox.
Yeah, that's awesome. So going back to the Arcade1Up thing really quickly, it kind of sucks. A lot of people don't realize this, that you might work with a company, but a lot of that's based on contacts that are there and stuff. And once they're not there, sometimes those opportunities just disappear. And like you said, and I've known this behind the scenes, like you're pretty much the person that was responsible for getting Simpsons Bowling to even work on the Arcade1Up Simpsons cab. I don't know if you remember the controversy way back when they announced the cab, then they had to pull it down because they couldn't get Simpsons Bowling working.
The trick to Simpsons Bowling was to not treat it like an arcade game. So
Oh yeah, I heard about this and I didn't
that's the
understand how
trick
it
to Simpsons
worked.
Bowling. Is that
Yeah.
it was always it was actually an arcade. We're not running it off an arcade. That's why it's working.
Yeah.
And that's why it's working on because it's we had to modify with the emulator. I actually had to build personally to try this out, and to the magic of Ryan and Retro Bash that it worked.
So I got to ask about this, and you can stop me if I'm not allowed to say it. Well, I'm probably just going to say it anyways. It was like a modified PS1 emulator, wasn't it?
Yep,
That's wild.
it was actually a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm super impressed you got it to work. It ran really well. That was one of the highlights of that Simpsons cab. So good job there. And it is a little sad to hear about the project you were working on for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I know a lot of people wanted that. Even after they got their updates done and the cab was running a little bit better, they still wanted that rollback. And I mean, if that's something you guys could have moved forward with and put in, I think you would have had a lot more happy customers with that Arcade1Up Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cab.
Yep. I personally wanted it. Well, for me, I didn't own one. I just did had the board itself. I still have because the dev board that for that Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was for a lot of different machines. We got Marvel vs.
Oh, yeah.
Capcom 2 when we the online. It was more for trying to get as much as we can on Fight K within the league because it was still licensing and a lot of things to do with that. It needs rollback. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 won't work well without rollback. I don't know if you've ever seen it on Dreamcast when it was online there. Was there an early
I never played it online there on
form of
Dreamcast,
rollback,
yeah.
but it was just for. It's because it was only for Japan, so it was. It was.
That's probably why.
On that one, but it was.
Yeah.
It was an early form of rollback. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, nice. And you brought up a funny thing. I'm in the Arcade1Up beta tester program. I've never received anything. Like, everybody thinks that this program is probably like they're sending out cabs to people. They don't even send cabs out to their own people. Like, honestly, I've seen like the test kits, people working with Arcade1Up have. It's usually just like some ghetto controller, a screen, loose screen, and then like a PCB. That's basically how these people are playing these demo games. Nobody's getting cabs sent out to them other than maybe what was his name? The really good fighting guy that worked
Yeah,
here
I
for a
didn't.
while.
I got the dev itself,
No one did.
and a stick.
Yeah, that's it. Just that's it. You're running on pins and needles there trying to get this stuff to work. Yeah, so I want to go back a little bit because I think this was before you started doing your work with Arcade1Up. Shortly after you left working with Unico and the work that you were doing there, that's when you did start developing some games and got involved with iArcade more heavily. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that, your time working with iArcade and the kind of stuff that you did there?
So with iArcade, that was where I was. It was my first home. So we got Time Killers and Blood working on Zone Blaster. We're literally on the fourth iteration of Zone. I released it, but for that game, that was the first was mine. So I started. It's got to be perfect before we Time Killers and Bloodstorm. Then we reproduced our own. We started working on Tank Bash, and there was a reason why on the iArcade, but eventually, it got leaked, and I was able to support those users. And now, so people could play it now. But with iArcade, we were to put out, our games were consistently the sales charts, and I didn't do anything for that. It wasn't like we got off of it or anything, but it was I was able to pay ITS back, and that's all I cared about.
Yeah. So there was a rumor. There was a rumor that at one point iArcade was pretty close, with the help of Bash Gaming Studios, of bringing a version of Golden Tee to the iArcade. Is that something you can talk about or not talk about?
Oh yeah. So I can't talk about the future plan. We were getting Golden Tee.
Wow.
Very close to being finished. We finalized a different deal because Golden Tee ITS is a different licensing model because of its Golden Tee, and there's a whole other turn on it. But we were finalizing a lot of things, and we had to go back and get some more things working. But right before they went bankrupt, I got the approval, and we was like, crap.
Oh, that was a sucky situation. I mean, no one really wanted to see iArcade go out of business. No one wants to see anybody leave the home arcade space, right? So that kind of sucked. And I mean, I don't know if you cross paths with Glenn much, but like I was heartbroken for Glenn at first because I was like, geez, Glenn just put all this time and effort into doing this control panel, and then
so
thanks
much
to
work was crazy, man.
Yeah. Yeah, so Glenn put a ton of work into that, and then there was New Life, and reason I want to talk about iArcade here a little bit. One of the things I said about iArcade was they needed a way to expand their user base, like much more than what they were already doing. I mean, I don't know how many units they exactly had out in the community, but I said there's got to be some way they can bring more people in. Maybe they can do a cheaper model. Of course, Jung revealed their big plan during that last stream was to go with this handheld controller, and that didn't do a lot for me. I always thought a really cool idea would be to turn the iArcade into some kind of consoleized version that they could bring out, sell at a lower price point, and maybe expand the user base, especially with the hardware and technology and everything that friggin' system could do, because it was awesome. And now you guys are coming out with this new product, the BashBox, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. And to me, it seems like that is that concept, realized. Like what you're coming out with this, everything from being able to play retro games to modern indie games, it's just awesome. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Bash Studios, your team, and then give us some insight on the BashBox, what you guys are doing.
Gotcha. So BashBox, my vision for the BashBox was for it to be focused on development. Anybody who wants to bring their games to the system, I want them to be able to bring it to the system with ease. I want people to be able to play games the way they want to play games without hassles. I want people who are experienced like me to be able to load up Battlesera, load up, Hyperspin, whatever they want to load up and be able to play it. I want people who like pinball to be able to throw in the BashBox and be able to spin it around and play pinball the way they want to play. I want people to play games how they want to play. I don't want them to be locked down. I don't want them to stifle anybody's innovation. don't want to stifle anybody's ability to play any game they want to play that the BashBox can handle. I want people to be able to just plug it in, play the game, pick up the controller, play the game.
And I see your friends Unico, powered by Unico, are on this. So a little later, you can tell me about their involvement. But before that, I don't want to get sidetracked. Why don't you tell us about your team at Bash Gaming Studios? Who's there? Who makes up this giant unit? Of course, you're the head of the snake. But who else we got there?
So with the team itself, there's three of us who are an executive team. There's Messiah Drummond and Dominic Page. So those are my two. That's my team right there. Dominic Page, the VP. Messiah Drummond is executive VP, executive producer. So he's basically what Mike Zabek was to iArcade, and Dom is what Minchik was to John. So they have different goals, they have different roles, but they're both basically the guys who advise me in everything that I do. Anything I follow them, they follow me. Everything I do, I run it by them. Even whose shows I go on, it happens within the show, within what I can talk about on the shows. It's that mostly so I can focus on development because that's my actual trade. But it's so I don't get off track, and then I don't just run this like a dictatorship. I run this just like a club with 8 of my friends who are doing this all. So you got Ryan Hong Kong. He's responsible for the retro bash portion, the emulation. Global Match itself comes from a little bit of his code as well as Unico's, but most of our emulation as well as iArcade actually came from him. And then I have Ferris Baker. He's my original game producer. He's the one responsible for Bowling 2024, Pool Bash, Driver's Edge, a lot of different titles that we've been fortunate to get him to work with us on. I am the weakest developer out of the bunch. I do what they tell me. And we got another guy. He goes by Thanos, but his name's Julio. He actually he's a software engineer in training too. So me and him are actually learning from Ryan and Ferris as we go. But I code and develop for a living. I'm by trade a systems and software engineer, but those guys are the kings of what they do. And I'm fortunate to have these guys on my team and be able to learn as much as I can from them, because without them, none of this would happen.
So basically, everybody there, it's a passionate group of gamers that are looking to put something out there that is something that's collaborative with indie developers, while also giving people the ability to game and connect the way that they choose to do it, right?
Definitely.
All right. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the BashBox? I'm going to bring the website up again. I've got the processor there, chipset, the RK3588, good stuff. So let me just bring this up, and why don't you run us through the BashBox, the internals, and then we'll talk about what this bad boy can do.
So the BashBox itself, I don't know if you can see on the screen now. This is the BashBox.
Let me bring down this website screen, and I'll put you full screen. All right, there you go.
So this is the front end screen for the BashBox. I was playing Dead Cells and Street Fighter a little bit earlier myself. This guy, oh man, I don't know if I can talk too much about him. I'll let him, post up his own stuff. But Tavares Johnson, he made this game called "'Twas the Night." I'm going to play this. I want people to see my frustration when I've been playing this game. This game is amazing. I swear to you, I've been playing, and or I can, this game in because my kids have been beating me in it. But it's like you deliver packages. It's a lot like a Paperboy Endless Runner, but I love this game. I've been playing it so much at the house, and I don't have the other one loaded up that he made, but he's got a whole suite of games that we're fortunate that he's been bringing over to the BashBox and making things happen.
Very nice.
Yeah, games like this, man, I've been. Oh yeah. See, oh yeah. So I definitely want to. This.
It was the night. Interesting. So, all right, that's one game. Why didn't you show us what else this thing can do?
thing I want to talk about is Global Match is from Unico, actually. You know, you have
Oh,
the
wow.
ability to buy games directly from them. You could bring your own games. The YOG mode, as you can see, the Hilo stick runs in my blood, so clearly we have our things going. But you have to have a USB drive plugged in because the Global Match is meant for their arcade machines. So it's
Yep.
running that's their arcade when they bring out the Nova Blast, when they bring out their board, it's going to look just like this too.
Oh,
So
wow.
you're able to a lot of different games. You're able to bring your almost Fightcade style and play.
Yeah, that's something I saw earlier. I was really interested in.
And oh yeah,
I think we got a little bit of a delay, but what I was going to
um,
say was I know with the At Games Legends Ultimate, like people love bringing their own game, but they're always like, there's something missing. I'd love to be able to play this online against my friends. I'd love to be able to share this experience. So it looks like through that Unico framework, we're going to be able to do just that on the BashBox.
yep, that's what Global Match is. A different retro game.
Wow.
The online bring your own right now. There's about 100 that they've tested that are compatible with. But all of the games from them, no matter what system it's on, you'll be able to play in our retro titles. You'll be able to play those online. You'll be able to play. You'll also have a lot of different things. How they're doing their retros that will be compatible with their box too. So
Yeah.
with their goalie on the bash box, but the back it will be so you bring your own. Have to install anything else. Arc, there's dealer retro arc. Do that too. The whole thing, the whole.
That's nice. Is there any other way to add games, like to go out and buy games to add them to your BashBox? Like, does this work with any other storefront, like Google Play?
Use Google Play. You can use itch.io inside the storefront that's coming out later on too.
Very nice. So, does the system come with any games stock?
There will be to about 20 games stock, but right now we do have about 10 coming. And I'm trying to other guys. I'm seeing if to let us borrow a few games and put them on there because I really want people to game right here. And then especially he's got another game just like Spy Hunter, and I
Oh,
can't wait till
wow.
people see that when he show it off. I'm definitely going to show it off, but he's got some games, man, that I need people. I wish they could have came on iArcade because they're exactly what the iArcade was meant for. Titles, but they're super retro.
So, Game Fridge asks, will it have its own app store? Yes. So, you are
Will
going to
it
have
have its
your
own
own
app?
app store. And like we
Yeah.
just talked about, also, you're going to be able to use the Unico. What was the name of the Unico store again? Global Match, Google Play, Bash has their own, as well as itch.io. So lots of options out there for you guys to bring games in.
I really probably should get rid of my notification. You can run it, any all your.
Yeah.
You want to get on YouTube, anything else, you can definitely have whatever you want to have on here. YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, stuff like that. You can have while you're actually playing the games.
Oh, very cool. Now I see Bash Sports Online Bowling. Bill, I wanted to ask you a question about that one, but before we get there, we do have a quick super chat here from Messiah's Gaming. Thank you very much, $1.99. Release the Wolves, BYOG Online, Rock Lee style. Thank you very much, Messiah's Gaming. Yeah, BYOG Online is something that is very exciting. So
Oh yeah,
Bash
oh yeah.
Sports Online Bowling.
Online was
There's a
kind of
fun.
like,
You go ahead. Sorry, we
have
got a
a huge
slight
delay.
delay. You continue what you were saying. Yeah.
So with the BYOG mode, I wanted people to be able to have as they could. I wanted people to be able to just load up a game and be able to that are BYOG. We wanted to make sure people could play the way they wanted to play and work a few things with it. You know, things a lot better and more smoother. But right now, without it being in production yet, it runs really smooth.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, so I wanted to ask you about. I see Bash Sports Online Bowling for us. Do you want to show us what that looks like on the Bash box? Is that up and running, Bill?
Yeah. Let me show you. It's not too much different. So I don't know if your screen
Yeah.
that popped up beforehand. That's the Bash Connect, the new screen. So you'll have everybody will have the ability to have leaderboards, every leaderboards server, and everything there now. So when you play bowling, you play pool, you play driver's edge. We're also going to provide that to developers in case they want to use.
Yeah. Great. Sorry for the dead air. Just waiting for the game to start up, guys. Bill, while this game
Now
is
here's the
starting
part
up,
where we're still in.
I recently heard a rumor about Bash Sports Bowling that a famous Canadian celebrity who also collaborated with Tim Hortons to make his own Timbits recently had a Polycade installed in his home and asked for one of your games to be included on his Polycade. Is there any truth to that rumor?
So Justin Bieber, you requested bowling on his Polycade. Actually, and gave him Polycade. Well, not gave. He purchased, and when he got bowling, I'm sorry, when a bowling game, and Tyler said, "I got you." As soon as he did, he asked for bowling, and we made sure we had it.
That's friggin' wild, right? Like, think about that. You basically created a game, and now celebrities are going to be playing it in their home. That's just surreal to me.
Well, if you're in Polycade, you'll play with people like Snoop Dogg. So, with Justin Bieber specifically requesting it, it was kind of cool for me.
That's weird. That's like the best advertisement you can ever make for Polycade. They should have had you on the Polycade team when they were doing that Kickstarter. Play games with Snoop Dogg.
No, I think Tyler is a mix at all. He's great
Yeah.
with promoting. He's been super good to us. I'm
Yeah, that is really cool. Really cool. So I'm looking at some stuff here in the Bash box. We've already talked about the local online multiplayer gaming, multimedia capabilities, watching videos and streaming in 4K, powerful gaming titles. And this is the one that really caught me off guard. I see Shredder's Revenge right out there on the website. So people can download Shredder's Revenge from where? The Google Play Store, and then actually be playing that at home with your Bash box, correct?
Yes, they can actually get it from Netflix. It's free.
Yeah, actually, Toxin asked that earlier. Can I log into Netflix and play games? So you can log into Netflix on your Bash box and actually play Shredder's Revenge. Wild.
Right. You can get Shredder's Revenge. You can get Grand Theft Auto. There's a few titles they have that are actually pretty good, and all of them run on the Bash box.
Wow. I find it funny, though, because I think back on Shredder's Revenge, and I don't know if you remember the last year, the iArcade was in business. That's all anybody talked about, trying to get the iArcade to get Shredder's Revenge up and running on it. And here we are. And you guys are releasing the BashBox. And it's like, it's kind of come full circle. So,
Yep.
yeah, that's really cool.
Oh yeah, we've been able to play things like Shredder's Revenge, Streets of Rage 4, Virtual Tennis. There's a lot of titles on Google Play that just work on the BashBox. Devil May Cry, Call of Duty, Modern Combat, Asphalt. Those super big titles on Google Play, and Mega Man X Dive. That's actually a really good game. All those games work perfectly in the BashBox.
Yeah, so I'm going to be bringing up here now. This is Bill's YouTube page. So look for Shin Ruckus 0, and you've been posting some gameplay videos actually from the BashBox itself. So you've got some BashBox, BYOG,
Yes.
BYOG online we can go to in a little bit. But here's one actually where you guys are playing Zen Pinball on the BashBox itself. So which version is this? Is this Pinball FX3, Pinball FX?
Oh no, this is actually called Zen Pinball. You download it from Google Play, and it's Zen Pinball.
Okay.
You can actually buy more of those tables from this. They have like 4 different types of pinball machines that just work. There's a lot of different Zen Pinball ones. There's a Pinball Arcade. There's 2 other ones. There's one Bobby Vu and Scott O'Connor. They actually showed off playing a lot of different pinball tables.
Very nice. So I'll get out of this one and go back. You were just talking a little bit about Streets Rage 4, so I wanted to bring that up and show people. This is Streets Rage 4 on the BashBox. I'm going to turn down the volume so we don't get a copyright claim. And this is all your gameplay, right?
Right, directly on the BashBox, so you can see how. Only problem with recording on the BashBox is that when I'm playing it, I'm usually playing either 4K or I'm playing at 120 frames a second, so it doesn't actually give you the same feeling, but you can see it running. It's that how much you can put out there, but when you see this, it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a wild experience. What is it with YouTube? They compress the video when you actually upload it, isn't it?
They do, and you have the ability to do 4K videos, but it doesn't look nice when you put it on here. So I try to keep it at 1080p, but I can't do 120 frame a second videos. At least I can. If there's a way to do it, I'd love somebody to tell me. But this at 20 frames a second.
I love Streets Rage 4. So that's a cool addition. The one that I was really impressed with earlier, we had talked about just briefly, was I was looking at this version of NBA Jam. Oh, yeah. I got to go back into your videos now to find it. So this version of NBA Jam, which one is this? Is this the one that came out a couple of years ago on the 360, or is this a more modern version?
A little both. So this came out actually on Google Play, and
okay,
I don't think it's listed in the storefront anymore. I could download it because I bought it back when I had Shield TV, and they actually still update it.
Oh wow! So when you say they update it, they don't update the rosters; they just update the gameplay, right? Or do they update the rosters too?
No, they update the rosters. I don't think they updated the roster since last year, but I know. Like when this game came out, Nerlens Noel and Joel Embiid, they weren't even playing for Sixers yet. So they definitely updated the rosters a long time ago. And I think it was to keep in touch with the On Fire edition.
Nice. So like the thing that I was looking at, I'm so impressed with this, is just how good it looked, even the YouTube translation of it. But I love, like, if you take a close look at Nowitzki's face, like when he goes up for a dunk, like it's priceless. He's got this wild look on his face. It's like, whoa.
Okay.
Definitely, you were killing Dallas here too in this game.
Nice here. Oh yeah, another game looks nicer here. I don't know if you've ever seen the Soul Calibur HD that Google Play had. That's not listed anymore either. When I downloaded it, oh man, it looks beautiful on here. It looks like it was meant for this.
Oh wow. Do you have any video of that up on your site, Bill?
I don't. I don't. I'll take a screenshot of that at some point.
And here's another one you mentioned. I know my buddy Steven Ristalgia. He's someone that you could look out for. He'll be someone interested in taking a look at your BashBox. He loves Crazy Taxi, so I bet you he was pretty excited to see this on there.
Oh yeah. I had to play this because it's at the time I couldn't get Dreamcast emulation working, but I needed to play Crazy Taxi anyway. But it's definitely, this version is definitely a lot prettier than the console versions.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Now,
I mean,
this game in particular, you don't want to have your frame set to 120 frames a second because its logic locks to 60 frames a second. So if you can keep it down at 60, you want to keep it there, but it's still pretty.
we'll take that down. I don't know why that came up. So, one thing I wanted to ask, I do notice that the console comes with controller. Do you want to tell me a little bit about that controller? I'm a bit of a controller snob, so first I'm going to ask you about that controller. Then I'm going to ask about compatibility with other controllers. So, this controller, is this your own design, or is this something that you partner with somebody else to bring to the console?
That's all Unico. The thing that I did was I tested it out playing games like Third Strike, playing
Yeah.
2. I need to make sure, I play games, I play fighting games at a high level. So I need to make sure I can play these games at a high level in order to work. I don't want to sell something. I don't want to sell somebody something that I wouldn't do with myself. So when I tell people all the time, I'm selling this to me. I'm the buyer of this system. So everything in here had to work just like I would play. If I want to play King of Fighters 2002, I need to make sure I can play it. Frame perfect inputs. I need to be able to do.
Now, say for example, I know you're happy with the controller, but people have their own preferred controllers. Is there compatibility with other controllers? Like, what's the hookup? Is it a straight USB or is it through Bluetooth? How would people bring their own controllers in? Like, I would want to play with an arcade stick. I got an 8-bit arcade stick. Would I be able to use that with the BashBox? Possibly.
You can bring whatever controller you want. We're going to. I'm working on integrating the OS with send-in support as well. So,
oh wow,
I want everything to be plug and play. Right now you can. I've been playing this with my PS5 controller because my kids took my other controller, but you can plug in the PS5, PS4, PS3. PS3 it actually works really well, and the controller itself was designed around that driver set. Xbox controllers work fine. Switch Wiimotes, if you want to use that for light gun games or even use it as a mouse, they work fine.
Yep. Wiimote is wild. Like, seriously.
Oh yeah, and it's really good for shooting games. So I don't know if you've seen a game I had up there. We were working on Zone Blast or First Blast. That's going to be a pack-in with the system. That works with a mouse. It works with send-in light guns when we get the support in. That works with the Wiimote right now. I was using the Wiimote to actually play that. So, you can use a lot of different things to play with it. You can't use the actual controller because it's not meant for controllers, but just plug in a mouse and, work with that. You can actually plug in your keyboard and work the same way you're going to work if it's normal Android. You can actually take the launcher, the home launcher, and change it back to stock Android if you don't like that either.
Wow. All right, Bill. So I want to go over some of the specs now. I tried to do this earlier, but we got disconnected on that. So this has Android 13. Processor is the chipset, the Rock 3588. Dive into the action with the Arcade 3588 chipset, offering superior processing power, ultra smooth gameplay, and vivid graphics. It's got an octa-core 4x Cortex A76 and 4x Cortex A55 CPU. GPU is an ARM Mali G610 MP4. Memory, 8 gigabytes of RAM. Connectivity, Wi-Fi, dual band, 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz. Bluetooth 5.0. Then it's got USB 3.0, USB-C for fast data transfer, HDMI 2.1 for 4K resolution. This is not messing around. This is a pretty heavy-duty piece of equipment that you've got going out here.
Yes. So the idea was power balancing with price.
Yeah.
Making sure we can give it to at an affordable price with as much power as we can pack into it. I tried to go for something like a Snapdragon, but that would have cost a end user about $700 to $800,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to do that. If you're gonna spend $700 you can buy a PlayStation 5. I wanted to make sure this was affordable, something that you want to buy and want to play. Make sure we had indie developers who because they're going to be the forefront of the system. I don't, I've gone to different AAA developers, but my goal is to showcase more indie development. I want people to see a lot of these games. I don't want games to get lost in Xbox Game Pass, where they'll have one indie game that you wouldn't try because it's right next to Halo Infinite. PlayStation Now, you wouldn't try this because it's right next to Spider-Man 2, or even on Steam, if you got Elden Ring or Hogwarts Legacy, you're not going to try a lot of those games next to another indie game because you see these games out there because there are a lot of money behind it. Indie developers are small businesses. They're just one guy, or teams of two, anywhere between 2 and 8 people, where nobody really gets to shine. I want indie developers to be able to have a place where they can shine.
Very nice. So I've got a question here going back to the controls. Nooner, I don't know if you've ever run across Nooner on one of these shows. Goes by Chris NXNW now. Late to the show, is this box compatible with arcade controls? And if so, is it easy to set up? So, we're in the home arcade space. A lot of people see this box and they're like, man, that'd be really cool to stick into this. That'd be really cool to stick into my home setup. Is this something that you can set up with arcade controls? Is there much messing around to get it configured?
Okay, so with the Nova Blast, it's already configured to handle that because
I thought it might
I am
be.
working with Unico. With Glenn's deck, Glenn actually built in support for guys like me who want to put in the BashBox and be able to just hook it up and make it easy to use, along with the UI controls. It'll just configure to Glenn's board. That's how it's meant. Devices like with Arcade1Up, we're looking at different, but at least for the Arcade and the Nova Blast, it's going to be simple to set up and just play.
Very nice, very nice, and that's bringing new life yet again to the iArcade after the original company went down. So I'm always going to be about that. We got a comment here from Neo Severa A. That box should be able to handle Dreamcast, PS2, Wii, and GameCube emulation.
So, Neo, my brother, me and Neo go back to Hilo Stick days. This can actually run slightly higher than that. I can't go into specifics because Mensa is actually on here. He'll kill me. But this can handle a lot more than, those systems.
How much more? You're not allowed to say. I know, but I can't help but asking.
If you look on my YouTube page, there's like 2 games on there that are higher than those systems that were emulated.
Ooh. All right. I'm going to go and take a peek and see if I can see. I'm not going to guess, but anybody can go and look and they can take their own guess. I passed it?
Yep, it's on the 3rd row.
It's on the 3rd row. Oh, okay. Am I close?
Very.
All right. That's all we can say. All right. Toxin. This guy Toxin, he's making guesses. I don't know. Speculate some Switch. I don't know about that. But you're just saying it's powerful enough to play it. That's all you're possibly saying, right?
Right. It's very much capable of being able to play at that level. Not all games, of course. You're not going to be able to play every Switch title at 60 frames a second, but some games definitely play very nice on there.
Vector Crash says, so it can handle a Thomas wave then. I'll ask you.
You can handle a Thomas wave, and you don't have to use it in Dreamcast mode either. It just runs a Thomas wave.
Wow. I'll ask you a question here, Bill. If you had to state who you think this system is designed for, who would you say it's for? What kind of gamer?
For the gamer who the iCade was beginning to do,
Yeah.
for multiple arcades. For guys like arcade rooms, for them too, to be able to say, okay, it's here, there for show, but I want to play the BashBox in the living room. I might that I want to play in my arcade, I want to play on the BashBox. Like you, for example, you got NBA Jam right behind you. And you don't feel like going to the game room. You feel like you're on the TV. You want to play a quick game with your kids. That's what the BashBox is for. To be for guys who just want to get in. No complicated setups. No having. If you want to be able to have a complicated setup, I don't know if people have seen my dev board, but there's a lot of different connectors because I want people to be able to do whatever they do. I'm not locking the.
So there's a little bit of something for everybody here. Whether you're a hardcore retro gamer, you want to bring your own games, whether you are a supporter of more modern indie games, you're an arcade gamer, this really fits everybody, right?
Yes,
I'm accommodating for the delay. All right, so a lot of people are asking when this is going to be out. It's currently on pre-order right now, $249.99 US. Where is it going to be available, Bill? Is it just in the US right now? Are there plans to bring it globally? Where's it going to be for sale?
So right now, we have a agreement with India where they're going to get a separate set of BashBoxes for. They have their own new storefront coming in Surf Community. I'm looking at shipping to Canada to tell me how much it's going to cost for me to ship to Canada. But there was a couple people who asked me based on the fact that we couldn't ship to Canada because I didn't know how. Now I do. We're shipping to Canada.
Yeah, your buddies at Unico just hooked up the worldwide platform there yesterday for the Nova Blast. So I immediately saw the email went out and I checked it. And honestly, shipping's expensive, but it's fair, man. It's $200. Looks like $200 Canadian shipping. And I mean, for what you're getting there compared to, I've paid $180 US for shipping for an Arcade1Up cabinet. That's not steel construction. So $200 Canadian actually seems pretty fair in comparison. All right, so when is this going to be available? People pre-order, when are they going to be able to get their hands on the BashBox?
So the first I'm looking at shipping out the mid to late April. It was because I'm making sure the OS is right, and I'll be testing the get a global match and the new things that we just put in there. That we found that weren't working, exposed with the dev boards that wanted to make sure it's working. I don't want to, and then you don't get it for like 6 months. But our goal right now, April, and you guys know me. I'm notorious. I try to be as transparent as possible. Coming, and this is the whole. This is what.
All right, so April's where we're looking at, $249. So I've got links down in the description below, guys. So if you want to check it out, it's a link to their website where you can go pre-order. What else do I got up there? Just give me a second here. I got to make sure I know what I've got up there, Bill. I also added your contact for your YouTube channel so people can go check there for updates because you're constantly posting videos, gameplay from the BashBox. If there's something people want to request from you, like gameplay of a certain game, that's more than likely where they can see it. I also posted a link to Bash Game Studios on Facebook. That's probably one of your best places to go get updates on the development of the BashBox as well, correct? And they should also follow Old Man Rukus on Twitter, correct?
Yes. So, yep, I'm definitely because the FGC is kicking back in, and everybody with the I'm just trying to be everywhere so people can see, hey, this is what I'm obviously not competing with PlayStation, but I do want to have a place developers can come in and say, hey, this is what I'm able to do. I'm going to show off my game. And if you want to install on the BashBox, you'll have different option developers to come in and say, hey, this is what we want to do. This is how we're going to put it out there. This is our freedom to be able to either, hey, you could do it through, put it in Google Play. However you want your game showcased, we'll make sure with the BashBox if that's what you want to do.
So I gotta give this guy some much deserved love. Prince Malcolm. One of my least favorite things about the iArcade shutting down is I used to love seeing an indie game developer post their game, and then shortly after Prince Malcolm be like, "Hey, you should bring this game to iArcade." So I got a feeling we're gonna see a lot of tweets when people post indie games where Prince Malcolm telling people, "Hey, you should try to get this on Bash Game Studios BashBox." Is that something coming in the future, Prince Malcolm? You can tell us here. I'm looking forward to your Twitter activity.
So Prince Malcolm, ever since it's been he's been my team. You know, without him, I wouldn't even have the courage to talk there constantly. Oh. He's always on Twitter. Yeah. Hey, get this on the BashBox. Hey, Prince Malcolm is so much of a savior, man. I have Prince every time I see a game out there. I'm like, hey, Prince, check this out, man. Get this guy go in there. And then I try to do something a little bit different than John did. I'm going to make this move. I'm going to make this a strong member of my team. You know, I trust his opinion fully. So I say, okay, cool. I'll go to him and say, hey, I'm a content developer. I got you, Bill.
All right, so there's a lot of other people in the home arcade space. We did talk about some other companies. One we didn't mention was At Games. Now, a lot of people have their At Games Legends Ultimates, and now, especially with the capabilities of your BashBox, people are going to have the new At Games Legend 4KP. Do you think it's a possibility that the BashBox can be a good plug-and-play solution for the At Games Legends Ultimate? Have you ever talked to At Games about possibly seeing if there's some way to configure the controls, maybe to set it up for plug-and-play? Is that something that's on your radar? I know there's a lot of At Games fans that are here in the community, probably will be interested in using this as something to further power their At Games Legends Ultimates.
I used to work for PK. So I actually could work.
Yeah. So you work with everybody basically in the home arcade space.
Everybody. I've worked with people that you don't know. The only people I was.
Yeah. Yet there's still a chance. We'll get you in contact with Shiloh.
Oh yeah, I'd love to work with those guys because if I on anything, because it's not like they need me because they I love New Wave Toys products. If I could get them to do a bowling cabinet, a minute with it, I'll do it for free. I don't care. It's just that I
yeah. Just really quick. Sorry, this is off off the mark, but. Jeffson just came in. He said, was having a bad day. Then I won $200 from buystuff.ca on P-Dub's channel. Congratulations, Jeff. That's awesome, man. So, yeah, Neo Severa says the upcoming 4K machines using the same chipset, they are, but they probably won't have the same accessibility that the BashBox does.
So you got to think.
So...
Okay, he has over 300 titles.
Yeah.
Then he's got deals with Microsoft. He's got a lot of different more. He has them differently. Even with the pinball tables, these guys want to make sure they're be here. Yeah. He's put a lot of work into the work with him. So those guys are doing a lot of work in the platform they're working with. So their platform. So with our box going on there, it'll be the same chips like having an Xbox and PlayStation 2, but again, the actual an actual arcade. So
Yeah.
you're limited to again your arcade. For that, it's able to because you can just plug in a BashBox, it'll just pick up, it'll just play. But that's also cool.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about it too. Is just you really. It's not just you're empowering gamers to bring what they want and play what they want on it. You're also giving them the ability to play how they want too. You want to hook it into an arcade? Cool. You want to play it on your TV? Cool.
Definitely. And I definitely one Renzo. Renzo gave us Titans directly for the BashBox, and he actually is not using the same Unreal Engine that they use in Unreal Engine 5 now, and it's also have the ability to go to 120 frames on the BashBox. I think this is what he was trying to realize, but he's doing it for us. It's going to be a pack-in with the the Bash.
Nice.
Boris Johnson, oh man, what he's doing, it's beautiful. And Prince is just getting developers in, and then people will see, this is going to be this place for any of their games get lost in Steam because Steam is full of WBs. I want people to get in and be able to play. I want to do what the Ouya attempted to do. There's a lot of people's shoulders who wrong what it did right, and I'm trying to replicate the success.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it, Bill. I got to tell you the truth. There does seem to be a gap ever since iArcade, unfortunately ended its operations. I did love that experience every week of finding new games, new titles, and maybe some stuff I never heard of before. Some of the indie stuff that, it would never make sense. And then you play it and you're like, wow, this is a really good game. And if it wasn't for a platform like iArcade, now BashBox, I never would have discovered something like Donut Dodo. I mean, what are some other games? Like Satrium was already out there, but I love that. And I'm looking forward to see this stuff moving forward with you guys. I'm looking forward to see what you guys have to do in the future and looking forward to see what happens with the BashBox. Saw a lot of people here. My buddy Shotgun Sham was here earlier. He was like, oh yeah, I definitely got to get a BashBox. So really looking forward to this, man. So when are we going to see some units out there?
I want every...
Yeah. When are we going to see you guys actually... I know you're showing stuff from the BashBox now, but when are we gonna see you guys making your junket and actually bringing this thing around and showing people what it can do? I know you said it's releasing in April. Do you think that you're going to be out before then?
Units out as early as March.
As early as March. Wow. So cool thing about
hopefully
that is,
yeah, I'm hoping for that now.
So you've already got a team working on this. So some people, like, where can people expect to see that? Like, are some of the people that help work this, are they going to be able to have stuff on their channels? Like you mentioned Bobby Vu earlier, Messiah. So is that where we're going to see some of this stuff?
I'm hoping so. So, Mensah's getting one because he's my EP. So I'm looking at getting this in reviewers' hands as soon as April. So, I want everybody to be able to see it. I want to see other people. So they're not just believing my word. I want other people. I don't know if you've seen Bobby Vu's videos of it. He's actually using different sets. It doesn't even look like a BashBox. The reason why is because you utilize the BashBox however you want to utilize it. We're looking at, our launcher as something easy if you want to get in and play the game. Bobby Vu's not just an average user. He can put on whatever he wants to put on. That's why if you look at his, he's
But Bobby Voo's a more advanced human being. There's not anybody like Bobby Voo out there. So I'll throw a name out there. I'll tell you, right? I'll throw a name out there. I mentioned him earlier. You should check out if you've never seen. He's my buddy on the Super Game Room Dudes Nostalgia. I think he would be an excellent candidate to take a look at this. One of those great reviewers that can do everything. He's very tech forward. He'd be an excellent choice, so maybe look at him. Only problem is he lives in Canada, so keep that in mind. All right, man. So anything else you want to tell us?
Was there from the beginning, too.
Oh, yeah. What were you saying about nostalgia? I'm sorry, I cut you off there accidentally.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's this damn delay.
Those were the guys who were there back when I first started NBA, trying to get as much. I'm trying to get these guys hands as soon as possible.
Good choices, especially Nostalgia. Nothing against P-Dubs, just Nostalgia's a little bit better looking. Sorry, P-Dubs, don't be mad at me. Anyways, anything else you want to say before you go, Bill? We're at an hour. We're just about out of time. So anything else you want to put out there, tell people to look forward to?
No, just keep looking forward to more videos. I'm a developer, so I don't really know anything about marketing at all. So I'm trying to keep open, you know.
Yeah.
I want people to be able to say, okay, why? You know, if I have a delay, this is why we have a delay. This is what's broken, and I'll let it because it's broke. That's my actual job set. So, you know, I want people to get excited just like I am to put this play with other people too. You know, I want the same thing everybody else wants. You know, I want to fill that gap in the retro console scene. You know, this isn't just an emulator box. You can do whatever you want to do with this box.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this. There's a lot of callbacks to the iArcade, what the iArcade wanted to do, and I'm very excited seeing everything you're bringing forward here, Bill. I want to give you just a personal message on what you just said. As long as you're out there, you're open and transparent about this, I'm sure lots of people in this community want to support you. So congratulations on this release, man. It's been a long time coming, long time fixture in the home arcade community, and as we learned tonight, he's worked with everybody, and now he's moving out on his own path with the BashBox. Congratulations, Bill. Guys, again, in the description of this video, any information you want about their Facebook page, follow Old Man Rukus on Twitter, and also the BashBox website where you can go and pre-order yours today, down in the description. Thank you so much, Bill, for being here, for making time for me tonight, and go BashBox. Looking forward to the future, brother. All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry about the delay, but you know what? I think that added to the fun. All right, guys. Everybody have a great night. Thank you for being here for another episode of Chillin' Chat with Michael B.